Yo, what up, man? Chris, somebody checking back in, man. Back with a blog, man. Make sure to like button, that subscribe button your way, and I appreciate all the support, man. Salute to everybody. Happy Wednesday to everybody, man. Hump Day Wednesday. Trying to do this blog while I still got a little bit of daylight. You know what I'm saying? We got a big battle rap event coming up. But before we get to that, there has been a few people that have asked me what I think about the Young Thug situation, especially since and a lot of y'all know I live in Atlanta, grew up in Atlanta, and everything like that. I don't do a lot of hip-hop blogs. I'm not a street dude or whatever the case may be, but I don't mind giving my opinion on a particular topic because it's really a lot of layers in this whole situation, and I just feel like I've kind of listened to, obviously everybody has listened to the Young Thug interview by now, which was a very good interview, to keep it real with you. Like, Bank did a really good job with the interview. I thought he kind of challenged Thug on some things and he allowed him to speak, which is what you need to do as an interviewer. So I felt like, honestly, at first I thought the interview did Thug kind of well. You know what I'm saying? And there's some things that I will give Thug grace on, and there's other things that I won't give him grace on, you know what I'm saying, in terms of certain situations. Obviously, I'm not going to redo the case and everything. So when he got out of jail, it was kind of like celebrated in Atlanta. Like, people kind of like was happy for him. Like, he got out, even though he didn't technically beat all the charges, for him to kind of like get out on the little bit of stuff that he got on him. It felt like a win, to keep it real with you. Fannie Willis, who is the new DA in Fulton County, she took over for Paul Howard, who had been the DA for a very long time. He was one of the DAs that took down BMF and everything like that. But Paul Howard, I guess Fannie Willis took over for him. So this was her first real big RICO case. And the feds have a very high percentage of arresting people. So it looked like, because it was a RICO, it was so many people involved and everything, it looked like he was going to have a hard time getting off and seeing a light of day. And for him to come home, I think everybody was happy about it, for the most part. And it seemed like a win. Like, you went against the system, you managed to come home, you beat the system, he got back with his girl Mariah and all this kind of stuff. And then it was like, okay, now let's just get back to the money, get back to the music. And I think that was the sentiment when he first got out. As of right now, Thug looks really bad. I'm gonna be honest with you, he looks really bad. People are asking me, do I feel like he can come back from this? No, I don't think he can come back from this. He is fair to label him as a rat, bro. If you really look at things that have been said, old videos that have surfaced, you look at Trap Lord Ross, which is a big YouTuber, does a great job breaking down a lot of things. Just a simple fact that he was in an interrogation room and they were bringing up this whole Pee Wee dude and the Lil Wayne's tour bus getting shot up, and him giving his story on that situation, and him talking in that situation without a lawyer, and really breaking shit down, and then trying to say in the Big Bank interview that it was okay for him to do that because they brought his name up, and he was just giving his side of the story. Like, I didn't bring him up, they brought him up. But the lawyer can throw out all kind of people. Oh, I think Angry Fan robbed, the Dollar General. Oh, I think Piper Boy robbed the Dollar General. I think Vada Fly robbed the Dollar General. You know what? I think I did see Vada Fly over there. Like, you don't get a pass just because just because you didn't bring the name up. That right there is enough to label him a rat, bro. It's enough to label him a rat. And one of his main things was he kind of like put that label on Gunna and really tried to try to get people in Atlanta, like some of the artists or whatever, to not really rock with him. He tried to do that really from jail to get people not to rock with Gunna. So it was like a rat basically trying to expose another rat in a way. Like that's basically what it is at the end of the day. So what's happened recently? Let's just talk about the recent stuff. Obviously, we know these jails called leak. Gunna got out of jail, got straight to the music, and your success speaks volumes for you. He came out, he made some nice hits, he made some nice albums. People eventually started fucking with him, whether he was getting the features that he used to get or whether there were certain people rocking with him. Maybe there were people that were still loyal to Thug that wasn't rocking with him, but the music spoke for itself, and he was still very successful. and he's been going on tour. He's been making money. He's been working out. He's been getting his body right in turn for tours or whatever. So for the most part, he's been leveling up. And based on the interview, it looks like he's still like signed a Thug and everything. So Thug still has, you know, his contract and everything. I feel like Thug. So there was another thing in the interview with Big Bank where he was like, Gunna was the first to take a plea. Okay. If you dig up old videos, it doesn't look like Gunna was the first one to take a plea. It looked like someone else was the first one to take a plea. So you're basically trying to say that Gunna was saying that YSL is a gang. He took a plea, so therefore he's a snitch. But it doesn't look like he was the first one to take a plea. So I'm not saying what Gunna did was right, because people are saying that Gunna is like affiliated with the Crips and all this kind of stuff, and obviously he was running with YSL and Young Thug and all this kind of stuff. But Gunna does have the ability to fall back and say, look, I wasn't the first one to take a plea, so therefore I'm not the first one saying YSL is a gang. It's other niggas saying YSL is a gang that took pleas before me, so why am I being like the quote unquote scapegoat for like the main snitch label? So he does have the ability to say that. And honestly, it was also said that he wasn't really around when a lot of this shit was going on in terms of what the criminal stuff. Like, he wasn't around for a lot of that stuff. So it just looks like he's a lot more guilty by association as opposed to someone that was actually doing the dirt. Now, because of that, I kind of feel like Thug should have gave him some grace too, to be honest with you. Like, just because you're going down, you should not be wanting other niggas that wasn't even involved in the situation to go down. Are you happy he took a plea? Maybe not. Maybe you're not happy. But it seems like he's picking and choosing for people that took pleas who he's happy that they took a plea or whatever. And I just feel like if you still got some vested interest in Gunna, you still making money on his music, like, you should have got out of jail and kind of like hatched that situation. And that way, if nothing else, you still signed to him. You still have ability to make money off of him. He's still making hit records. Maybe you needed that alliance to help even get you back lit or whatever, because clearly he said in the interview that he hasn't been, I guess, excited about music or able to make music because he's not around his brothers. So at the very least, Gunna is out here being successful. So I feel like instead of trying to knock that down, he probably should have somehow fixed that situation and moved forward, especially considering that Gunna is basically, from a lot of people that's involved in the situation, was not someone that was doing these dirts, you know, these YSL dirty shit. So at the end of the day, like don't, in my opinion, so much shouldn't be brought upon him. The fact that you are labeling him out as much as you are, I think has a lot to do with a little bit of jealousy. I think it has a lot to do with jealousy because you put him on, but at the same time, he's successful now without you. You're in jail, he's successful, he's making songs, stuff like that. And I don't really know if you're going to be able to attain, especially now, the kind of success Gunna has had, because Gunna has had #1 and #2 albums, you know, top 5 albums since he's been out, top 3 albums since he's been out, and his tours are going crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's selling out, all kind of stuff. So people are definitely rocking with him. And I don't know if Young Thug is going to be able to match that success. So at the same time, I just feel like maybe if y'all had been in that situation, people love like a rehabilitation kind of story or a reconciliation kind of story. I think at the end of the day, people would have fucked with it and got behind it. That's what I feel with that. As far as the audio that was leaked, we all know that there was a lot of audio leaked. Apparently, and I didn't really know a lot about this, you can get the audio, especially if you were involved in the case. There's rumors that maybe Gunna's team put it out. I saw DJ Academic saying that. There's rumors that maybe the DA is putting it out, or some type of prosecution government thing is putting it out. Maybe anybody who's on the case is putting it out, but whoever is putting it out is definitely trying to make Thug look bad. It could be Gunna's team. Who knows? I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? He had a lot to say about Gunna and trying to fuck him up. Maybe this could be some retaliation on the other end, but it literally could be anybody that was involved in the case, apparently, and it's public record, so I guess you can get access to it. So we don't really know how the stuff is coming out. So let's just go over the recordings. The gorilla situation, I don't really have a problem with that at all, to be honest with you. I felt like he was talking to his girl. Maybe he was trying to boost Mariah up, make her feel good, let her know like, yo, I only got eyes for you type thing. And you know, these chicks are good or cool, but they ain't you. They ain't fucking with you. And did he lie? Did he lie? Glorilla, when she first came out, was not attractive. I respect the glow up. I respect everything. When she first came out, her teeth was not in good condition. She weighed probably less than 100 pounds, so she looked kind of anemic a little bit. And you know, her hair wasn't really done properly, all this kind of stuff. And she looked like a typical kind of hood rat Memphis chick. If we just being honest, this is on the FNF video. Or FNF, like the old footage of when they were first getting started. Now, yeah, you get yourself some money, you get a stylist, you get a personal trainer, they put some protein and stuff on you, they get your body looking right, put you on a little bit of weight, but it end up being good weight, get you with that added weight, and you start getting kind of fine, and then you get your teeth done and everything, and now you always got makeup and glam squad and all that kind of stuff. It can do wonders for you. So I am not mad at anybody that reinvested in themselves money-wise and put money into their situation. So I'm not mad, but he didn't lie on terms of the before pictures of Glow and the now pictures of Glow. So, you know, and I feel like women don't have a problem saying when a nigga is ugly. So we got to stop being so sensitive about, oh, he's talking about a woman. They don't have no problem when a nigga, it kind of just reminds you of like you know, if you saw a dude with no shirt on and he was fat, you'll just be like, that's a fat dude. But then when you see someone like Lizzo with no clothes on and she's heavy set or fat or whatever, and she's a female, they look at it as like women empowerment. She's embracing her body. Like, she don't give no fucks. She's this. But when a nigga do it and he's got his stomach out and fat, it's like, oh, he need to put a shirt on, he's sloppy. There's always been a double standard with that. And I just think if we're just being honest, there was definitely a glow up. And that happens. She's not the first person. She's not going to be the last person. You would hope that when you get signed, they're going to glow you up. And that's exactly what they did. Now, he said that. So, he probably should have just stood on it, because he backtracked on it in a tweet when he tweeted her basically apologizing and then started talking about how great she looked. He just stand on business. He'll just say, I mean, he did say he was in jail fucked up. So I'm not mad at the Glow shit. The Glow, that's nothing. That's just you on the phone with your girl. Y'all probably, you know, a lot of y'all niggas talk to y'all female or homeboy, and y'all say a lot of shit that y'all probably don't want to hit the internet. The dissing of the artist, you know, whether it was Future, whether it was Lil Durk, whether it was whoever else that he's talked about, this is where I will give Thug some grace. I will give Thug some grace here. First of all, you talking to your girl, you're venting. And just because you don't like something Future do, or just because you don't approve of something, it don't really mean you don't fuck with Future. I know he said like, yo, the nigga, you know, got all these kids and don't be taking care of his kids, all this kind of, like Thug ain't the only nigga that said that. You know what I'm saying? Every time Future pop up with a baby mama or something, they always talk about how he got all these kids and, you know, he barely take care of them. So, or he's barely around them enough to really take care of them. That's barbershop talk. People say that all the time. And I'm not going to fault a man for just having a private conversation that happened to get leaked. Now, why he's doing it on jail calls, I don't necessarily know. Maybe he thought it wasn't nothing important and they'll never come out. But his phone calls were getting leaked early on, though. They were getting leaked before. I think even like a year or two ago, some shit came out and it got to Mariah or whatever. So his phone calls, he should have been known that his phone calls were bound to be leaked. Hold on, let me look at something. And hold on, let me look at something real quick. Okay, but when you are in jail, man, let me just say this before I get out of here. When you are in jail, it's very easy to have a me against the world attitude. And sometimes people that you're cool with, whether it's Future, whether it's Drake, whether it's Lil Durk, whether it's Woody, whether it's Gunna, whether it's whatever, you can have a me against the world mentality. I told a lot of y'all, they lock you up, He was in 23-1, which is very, very depressing. He was locked up for a long time, and because he's so popular, he can't really be in public. He can't be with the public, so he can't play cards and talk to niggas like I could when I was in jail. So they're protecting him. But 23-1 is 23 hours in your cell, 1 hour out to talk on the phone and shower. There's a lot of paranoia that can go on in a situation like that, especially when it's so long and you just basically in solitary confinement. You know what I'm saying? You really don't have a bunkmate. It's just you by yourself. And you can fucking go crazy, bro. You can really go crazy. And you can have a me against the world mentality where it's just like, yo, don't nobody fuck with me. And when you first get in, it's always free thug, free thug, free thug. Then that dies down. And you get a lot of support and you get a lot of money put on your books. And over the time, he was locked up for a long time. That support dies down and the phone calls slow down and the letters slow down and the shout outs that you see when you be like, oh, the nigga accepted the award and shouted me out. That stuff slows down and niggas will move on with their life, and you start to feel like people aren't fucking with you. And a nigga might have put some money on your books or might have helped your family early on, but now that you in jail for 2 years or whatever, and later on you ain't nobody's helping your family out, and you almost forget that a nigga helped your family out in the beginning because you're so focused on that it's not happening now. There's a lot of paranoia in that. That's just in that. Add to the fact that you're on a RICO case. You have co-defendants that could burn you. You have all kind of things. You got niggas taking plea deals. You don't necessarily know what niggas are doing, to be real with you. Like, you don't know when you come to court if this dude is taking a plea or what he's going to say when he gets on the stand or what's going to happen this day or what's going on. All you got is your lawyer coming back to jail, to tell you certain things. There's a lot of paranoia in that. So I would say, for anybody that might have been mad that Doug said certain things in audios or whatever about like not getting verses in time for people or this not happening in time, or Future and his girls, or Lil Baby, or P from Quality Control and all that. A lot of that, man, is just you venting. A lot of that is barbershop talk. And over the time, you just fall into a thing where you just start talking regular. And as long as I'm not incriminating myself, I may be talking on the phone regular, like, damn, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, I remember when we went to like Lil Baby's birthday party, You just feel like you're on the phone so much, you almost feel like you just having a regular conversation, not even paying attention to the fact like all these shits are recorded. But you don't really feel like you're talking about anything that's incriminating. So you don't even feel like that's even a big deal, because the stuff that's leaked, it's not hurting his case per se. It's just hurting his perception amongst people. And for him, he probably thought it was never getting out. But the paranoia is real, bro. It's definitely real. And that's why I would give him grace at, because I feel like you got a lot to deal with, and you're gonna have a me against the world mentality. And as the longer you sit in jail, you're going to give up. You're going to feel like, I'm not gonna beat this shit. You're gonna feel like stuff is moving around me and I'm like the last nigga in jail, which pretty much happened for him for the most part. And you're gonna feel like, yo, everybody's looking out for themselves. And even if they're not looking out for themselves, that perception is that they are looking out for themselves. It's gonna be that way. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even in jail for anything as wild as Thug in terms of the amount of people involved and all that. But even I started feeling salty that people wasn't visiting me as often as they were in the beginning. But I gotta realize people got their own lives. But when you sit in jail, you don't understand that. You just like, yo, why ain't you talk to old boy or old girl in 3 weeks? If to you feel like they should just be fucking at the jail worried about you 24/7. But they got their own life out there. And it's hard for you to see that when you just looking at 4 walls for 23 hours and 1. So I give him grace for some of the phone calls. If I was an artist, I would actually accept his apology and move on. But is he a rat? Yes, he is a rat. There is no way around that. Like, if you going by the code, he definitely talked too much, and he had a whole interrogation, offered to leave his number. He's talking about the Lil Wayne Pee Wee shooting and all that. He's talking about the Birdman stuff and why Lil Wayne and Birdman fell out and all this kind of stuff. He's just talking way too much, and then gonna leave the interview like, yo, here go my number, hit me up if you need any more information. And then he even told them, just don't let people know I spoke to y'all publicly. You're a rat, bro. And because you're a rat, somehow you like worse, you got out of jail more celebrated than Gunna, and you're now worse than Gunna, bro. You're now worse than Gunna, and I just think it's over. It's over. It's over. I'm not saying he won't never make no money. I won't saying he won't do a concert and people will still show up and all this kind of stuff, but the days of him running rap in Atlanta, or at least being one of the major players in Atlanta, is over with. And I think he even becomes a liability on getting on a lot of like flyers and headlining cards and concerts with other artists from Atlanta. There was a time when you probably could have had some big ass reunion where you niggas would have been like, yo, we got YFL Lucci on here, we got Gunna, we got Young Thug. That shit would have exploded Atlanta. But now it's like, nah, ain't none of that stuff happened. We can't even put this nigga on a flyer with Future now. We can't put him on a concert with Jeezy or this person or that person. So now I feel like the Thug as we known him as an artist, I think that shit is over with, bro. I think it's over with. So that's pretty much how I feel about this situation. It looks like even his relationship may be over with now based on some subliminal tweets, but you never know about that. She could just be in her feelings right now. I don't know if I heard some audio where he was like, he was fucking COs, and I don't know. That shit sound like some AI shit. I'm not even sure if that was even a real audio. But at the end of the day, the internet is undefeated. The jokes are joking. You know what I'm saying? The internet is undefeated. The jokes are joking. And yeah, I just don't think people are gonna fuck with him. I mean, it's just not the same. And he was more celebrated than Gunna and YFN Lucci. And YFN Lucci just did a concert that sold out. Niggas sold out State Farm Arena, bro. That's like the Hawks used to play there. You know what I'm saying? The Hawks play there. So it's just like, but it's just like he sold out a major arena, bro. And it's just like, that's the love he got with like mad people coming out, Lotto and all kind of people. So nah, like Doug is not gonna be welcome like that. So yeah, it's over. Holla at your boy.